Because you've actually worked with lots of people that have been on stage and talk about these kinds of situations.
Yeah.
And do they arrive at a same place under like something that most people would say, yes, that's like uniformly deplorable.
Anyone that can get still enough to answer these questions and stay in that situation, anyone that can get still enough in these questions can set themselves free.
Mm,
We're only dealing with what we were thinking and believing in a specific situation about people, about the world. It's anyone can do this. Children do this so easily.
mm. And
You
when
know,
you say still enough, where I went to, I'm like, what does she mean? And in my head, I went to like where I'm just on the table and I'm just like an observer. I'm not like in my head having a story. I'm kind of the observer watching this thing in a safe place, just watching this thing, and I'm
yes. And
still and
getting
watching.
grounded like you did, just noticing the chair is holding you and the ground is holding the chair, and to get really grounded, you're okay. Look around, nothing can hurt you right now.
Right.
And so you can go back. You're safe to go back and be there then, now,
So you don't
to
re-traumatize
see what's
yourself.
true and to see what was really true and what was not as you look again.
Yeah, okay. So the key thing is to be really still and actually putting yourself at that time when it happened, not
Yeah.
necessarily after all the stories were created and I made
No,
this person an awful
no.
person. You go right at the moment of when that
That's it.
happened. Interesting. Okay, there's more work to
That
do.
moment in time is where the trauma happened.
Right, right. And so, no matter what the experience, I mean, a friend of mine witnessed you working with someone who was tortured by someone,
Yeah.
imprisoned. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you can get at this place.
Oh, sure, sure. The mind created it all. It can certainly go back and see what's true and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and the worst that can happen is you come out with what you already have. It's not
Uh-huh.
going to get worse.
Yeah. Okay, so before you did this work and you came, like, were transformed, described yourself as depressed. And a lot of people suffer with depression.
Ah,
How do you see our thoughts related to the depression that we feel?
as emotions are an effect of what we're thinking and believing.
Mm-hmm.
So they're equal.
Ah, okay.
They're completely equal. You know, look at the thought you had on the table and look at how that shifted the entire experience.
Right.
Cause and effect. Mine is cause, and your life is its effect.
Ah, so if I shift the thought, I will shift the depressing emotion or thought or
If
beliefs
you,
that I have.
for me, if I question the thought
Okay.
that I was thinking in that specific situation, then that experience shifts.
Hmm.
So my identity has shifted. I hold less anger in me.
Hmm. 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 Okay, so I want to talk about your own experience, and it seems like you just awakened at that moment. Like you literally woke up and you woke up. And did you ever return back to the old Katie?
You know, it's a process to answer your question. Yes, 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 and yes, and no.
Okay.
It's it's like it doesn't matter if it's a dream or not. In other words, you on that table is what you've been dreaming all this time, and it started with I've been spiritually raped.
Mm-hmm.
So you dreamed that, and so you're awake. You're more awake now to what really happened there.
So you're saying it's like a gradual awakening process for people who
Yes,
do the work, like little parts
yes,
of them awaken to who they truly are as they're doing
yes.
this stuff.
So I saw what created mind.
Mm-hmm.
and I saw what created the world.
Mm-hmm.
So even with that heavy dose, like 100%, like
Mm.
things would come in that were so strong, and I knew they weren't real. And that's where the work came from. That's where the judging neighbor.
Ah, okay. So like all of a
I
sudden,
took dictation
okay.
from here. It's like if I had the thought my mother didn't care about me, I would see the images of her um, rejecting me, ignoring me, and I'd see my brother and sister and how she was so good with them, but not me. It was a movie. So
Oh,
when it came, I would take those situations and I would take dictation out of my mind just the way you did from the table.
right. Ah,
Write them down. And so it stabilized.
ah. Okay.
It
And then after a
became
while,
stable and more stable because I had to, there was a thing in me that knew, obviously, that until I love the dream, I am just, I can't, until I love the dream, I can't love what makes the dream.
ah,
In
okay.
other words, loving what is all.
Ah, including when when your mind runs amok and creates these stories. It's like I love that part too. Like this creative
Well, we
story.
don't though.
Huh?
We don't until it's true that
Ah,
we,
okay, got it. Okay. Yeah, until we believe that that story, whatever it is true.
yeah.
And to the extent that that story hurts us, like my mother doesn't love me, my family,
And
whatever.
that, then that belongs on paper. All war belongs on paper.
And so over time, you describe in your book that people, they kind of just jump, they don't have to fill out these worksheets over time or what happens over time?
Well,
And do you even go there anymore?
if I needed to, I would not hesitate. But
Yeah.
working with you, it just, it just continues to just be this amazing gift of nothing something. And the something is always an illusion.
Ah, I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Whether you're working with anyone, it's like, wow, it's so amazing how the nothing has become a something. Like how it's interesting. CJ had nothing
Nothing,
happen on this table, and now it's turned into this whole
yeah,
mega story.
yeah. And the only something that happened turned out to be your judgments.
Ah, yes.
I
Okay.
mean, without your judgments and the images of you there, you wouldn't, there's no way for you to know it even happened. It's a dream.
Hmm. Wow.
So just hearing that won't make any difference. It makes a huge difference. But then all of a sudden, you see what's left of that, and it makes a big difference. It's your identification. So, um, I just judge your neighbor, write it down, ask more questions, turn it around,
Yeah. So
or
what I'm hearing.
suffer. It's like
Yeah.
depression. That's where we were. It's like what depresses. We're believing
Hmm.
our thoughts. That's depression. What is the cause? We're thinking and believing our thoughts.
Mm.
And we're
So
really being thought and being imaged.
when we
Like if
actually.
everyone right now just thinks of an apple, just biting into an apple, and you saw the image, and so that would lead you to believe that there's such a thing as an apple, and it was only
Mm-hmm.
in your mind.
Mm-hmm. 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 So if we realize everything is a dream and that we create those things.
Yeah, a dream meaning like memory.
Right.
Yeah, but
Right.
memory is how the ego stays identified as a as an individual, um, separate, lonely, dependent life.
So when we remove these stories, these dreams, these memories of who we are defined by the ego,
We
we
can't
can.
remove them.
What do we do?
When they appear, what
Uh,
we believe about them is just so radically different. Like when you think of you on the table, what do you think of it? What do you think of the experience now?
hmm
As opposed to the way you experience, I was spiritually raped. For me, it's like this: I was spiritually raped.
Right.
I do the work. I was spiritually raped.
Right.
I mean, spiritual is nothing. It's
Right.
it's what we believe it to be.
Right. 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 No, I feel very I feel neutral. I'm not elated.
Okay, that is different than anger.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't feel like punching someone.
Yeah.
Um,
See, there's one less angry person in the world. That is
hmm
not a little thing.
Right. Yeah.
Less angry will
Yes.
do it. That's
Yes.
your contribution to peace.
Yes.
And what can we do? You know, all the people that need peace in the world. What about the person we meet next, and the person on the
hmm
street, and the person that
hmm
says hello, and the people we work with? If I'm kinder, I am making a measured difference.
hmm
So
hmm
that is your contribution to peace, even if you're not aware of it.
mm
You're a kinder human being because you see that situation out of a less angry experience, a less angry you.
Okay, so folks, you're going to be coming here in Seattle on January 30th, and you're going to be speaking at the Center for Spiritual Living, and I will be there in the
Oh,
audience witnessing your glory and magic, and with these questions. Folks, we've been talking about loving what is. What can we expect when we go to your workshop in
well,
Seattle?
Invite. I'll do a Q&A where people ask questions,
Uh-huh.
and I answer, questions about the work, anything. And then I'll support people to fill in a judge your neighbor worksheet. I'll
hmm
guide them through slowly from top to bottom, and we have them there. And we have folders for everyone, and it's you don't have to know anything; just come follow the
Right.
simple directions. And then, if there are volunteers that want to do the work with me, then that's what I'll be doing.
Excellent. And so it's 9:30 to 5:30. That's a long session.
It is. We break for lunch, and it is.
Wow. I'm expecting big things.
Yeah.
Well, you know
Well,
what the
it's so transformative,
yeah.
and I know what depression feels like. It is
hmm
such, for some of us, such a hopeless state of mind, and
hmm
there is a way out. So that's why I make that trip.
Yeah, one of my I told you a girlfriend of mine has been doing the work for the last couple years, and I've noticed a visible change,
Yeah.
and she's really, really, really loved it. And what she said to me is, she said, if you go to the workshop, the thing is that because we're all human and we're having these experiences, you can relate your own experience to whoever is brave enough to go up and do
Yes.
their presentation, and it will change you.
Yeah.
So even though you're like, oh, I didn't get called, it doesn't matter. You're always called. You're good. You're
That's
there.
so true. If you just go and you don't say a word and you just sit in these worksheets, it's like anyone reading their worksheet, you could have written it yourself.
Yeah.
And so, as I'm doing the work with people, even if you never say a word, you're being undone at the same time the person in the chair is being undone.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't have to stand up there either.
Yeah, that's right. You don't have to stand up.
Thank you so much. This was
Oh,
absolutely delightful, and what a privilege to be able to meet and talk with you
oh,
live.
it's just so much fun to sit with you, and you are so courageous, and thank you for
Or
that.
stupid, I don't know. If you don't put yourself out there, if you don't, if like,
All of us.
you have to put yourself out there to help other people, even if it's putting yourself in a position that, am I embarrassed about it? Yes. Is it awful? Yes, but it's one of the worst things that could happen to someone. And so if someone can hear, I'm doing this, so hopefully someone who has been raped in a more violent way can listen to this
Yeah,
and maybe connect in the same way that you're talking about. So,
yeah.
all right. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we have, some of us have suffered horrendous, situations, and we really, our mind would tell us there is no way out of this hell.
Yeah.
And I'm just here as an example of, yes, there is.
Yes.
Yes, there is.
Yes.
And we can do it ourselves alone at home. And it's all on the work.com and Loving What Is and 1,000 Names for Joy and I Need Your Love. Is That True? You know, just to name a couple of the
Your
books
books,
out
yeah.
there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the work that you do. And thank you for helping me. That was huge. Very huge. Thank you.
Enjoy.
All right. All right. Blessings. Thank you so much.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. Would love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.